Welcome to the United Cast. It's Entertainment Talks podcast for Man United and football. I'm your host Matthew, and this is going to be a sort of 2020 to 21 preview season, but it's more specifically going to be 8 reasons to be nervous for the upcoming 20 to 21 season, and 3 reasons to be excited for the same 20 to 21 season. I sat here for just a couple of minutes, about 10 minutes or so, just writing some stuff down. Went and got a picture for the post for the podcast or whatever. Had a bit of a thought, about what else to write down and stuff. And I know there's a bit of a imbalance of ratio here because you've got 8 reasons to be nervous and 3 to be excited, which doesn't look great, but a lot of this hinges on the second reason to be nervous, which I will obviously get into these reasons as I go through the podcast. But we all know the situation kind of at the end of the day. If a lot of these issues could probably be taken care of if the Glazers sold the club and if Ed Woodward was not the chief executive. That's really, at the end of the day, that's what most of this comes down to be quite honest, because it would mean more signings, it would mean we're better at negotiating for transfers, and well, we'd presumably get somebody in who actually cares a bit more about the football club. So we all know that that's kind of the situation at the end of the day. That's been the situation for years. But let's get into these reasons without delaying anything further. So reason number 1, which what I just kind of alluded to a minute, lack of signings. We've had just one signing so far in this Premier League season, which is a bit of a disgrace to be honest. And we've been linked with, well, we're always linked with everybody. We're even linked with Lionel Messi this summer, which is ridiculous. But football's going to be football, and paper talk is out there, and rumours and speculation. And players, quote, reportedly, which is a terrible word to use, coming to Manchester United. But that's, a different thing, whatever. So lack of signings, just one. Donny van der Beek from Ajax, of course, the Dutch footballer, who is looking pretty exciting actually. But we'll get into Van der Beek a bit later, definitely. But one signing, just a bit of a disgrace really. We could have easily already got, I think his name is Regulia or something. The left back from Real Madrid that we've been linked with, because of course we've been linked with him. Thiago from, I think he plays for Bayern Munich at the moment, who's also been linked with Liverpool, who for some reason haven't got him either. I don't know why. But we've been linked with those two as well, of course. Those look to be Thiago, Regulon, or whatever his name is, and Jadon Sancho look to be the 3 current targets. Could one of them sign in between this podcast and October 5th? Sure, one of them could. They all could. They all should really get signed, to be honest. But lack of signings, just one. We've been linked with other players. Of course, there was a lot of talk, I think yesterday and over the weekend, about alternatives. We shouldn't be looking at alternatives to Jadon Sancho because we should be getting Jadon Sancho. We're Manchester United, are we not? We shouldn't be thinking, oh, we can't get Jadon Sancho. Yeah, we can. We shouldn't need to look at alternatives, but that's the situation. And of course, Gareth Bale's name comes up because his name has been linked with Manchester United for years at this point, which I think would be, he's not the worst player in the world that we could get. He's a bit old at this point, but would we rather have Gareth Bale or Jadon Sancho? I think I'd know who I'd rather have at the club. I think Bale's a great footballer. I haven't really seen much of him in the last 3 years, to be honest, since he sort of left Tottenham Hotspur, gone to Real Madrid. But from what I remember, he's still a good player, and I've still seen some bits and pieces of him at Real Madrid. But nothing to really say whether or not I think he's the right. I don't think he's the right fit, and obviously we shouldn't be looking at alternatives, like I said, to Jadon Sancho, because we should be buying Jadon Sancho. So lack of signings, that's number 1. That's pretty much all I've got to say about that. Linking directly into probably everything here. Number 2, the Glazers still own the club, and Ed Woodward is still the chief executive. We know that this is the big block at the football club, isn't it? Really. You get new owners in place, you get a director of football, you get Ed Woodward out the club. in some way, shape or form. You get new owners in there, you get a director of football, you get a good chief executive, and things will start to change for this football club if that happens. If that ever happens, that might not ever happen. I mean, they won't own the club forever because they're not going to live forever. But yeah, at least for the next good few years, probably, unless somebody offers some probably ridiculous amount of money for the football club. I don't know. The football club's worth a lot of money. They're still gaining a lot of money from the football club, which is a bit of a shame. And I don't say this in a sort of jokingly way or anything. I know that cancer is something very, very serious. And of course we did recently lose Chadwick Boseman, the Black Panther actor, to cancer. But the Glazers are, in a certain way, a cancer to the football club because they are sucking the life out of this football club in a way. So yeah, but respect to anybody who does have cancer. It's a horrible thing to go through. So I don't say that in any sort of joking way. I just want to make that quite clear. I want to make that very clear. I have respect for anybody who's fighting cancer. It's probably quite a horrible thing to go through. I don't know firsthand because I've never had it, luckily enough. I'm very lucky not to do so. I just want to make that clear. I have respect for the situation, but they are in a certain way a cancer to the football club. Number 3, Harry Maguire, who was recently found guilty of assault in Greece, and I haven't heard anything actually about what's going on with that whole situation, but yeah, it seems to he got charged, found guilty. He was in the friendly last weekend against Aston Villa that we lost 1-0. Where for some reason we played a friendly instead of our first game of the Premier League season, but that's not an issue with the football club. That's just an issue with the scheduling and the organisation. But yeah, number 3, Harry Maguire. I don't think he should be our captain. I don't know why he was given the captaincy in his first season. I don't know why he's a candidate to be the captain. I think his performance in the last stage of the season was terrible. I think he should be stripped of the captaincy and dropped, put on the bench probably. But yeah. I think it's time to choose a new captain. A lot of people are saying Bruno Fernandes. I respect that, but I don't know. I don't want... Bruno's already got most of the creative pressure on him in this team, along with Paul Pogba. But I just don't want to put too much on Bruno's back, so to speak. So I don't know who should get the armband necessarily, but that's another issue with the club. Tying back into lack of signings, we have a lack of leaders in this club, in the squad. Sorry. So. Yeah, what can you do? But Harry Maguire is definitely the number 3 reason to be nervous for the season. I think he looks nervous. I think he looks shaky. I think it's odd, isn't it? We brought him to be the defender that clears the crosses, gets his head in there, and heads the ball out of play, and also to score headers from corners, which he did once last season. I think it was against City or Chelsea. I can't remember who he scored that goal against, but yeah, just not a great performance. Granted, he could come back this season, well, in like a few days' time, to be honest. Saturday half 5, Crystal Palace kickoff. But yeah, I just don't have much confidence in him at the moment. So yeah, but that's number 3. Number 4 is left back and defence, which is a different issue to Harry Maguire. He can't be our left back. I wouldn't put him at left back. He is part of the defence, but we need that sort of left-sided centre back or left-footed left back, which Williams isn't. We need some sort of cover for Luke Shaw, is what I mean, and Harry Maguire can't do too much about that himself. Yeah, we've been linked with that Reguilon or whatever his name is. I think that would be a good idea. We could also potentially look at the academy, or spend some money on a couple of players. I don't know, but that's definitely another reason to be nervous for the season. Because although I do rate Brandon Williams fairly highly for his age, I think he's doing a great job. I just, with Luke Shaw's injury-prone situation, and we just need a left-footed centre-back other than Tuanzebe, who also gets injured a lot as well. I like Tuanzebe a lot as well, but both of him and Luke Shaw get injured quite a lot, so we just need a bit of backup for both of them, really. So that could be a good option as well. Number 5, you probably knew that this was going to be in here. Jesse Lingard, Andres Pereira and Phil Jones are still at the football club with no exit in sight. Really, there's been no discussion about either of them leaving or any bids from anybody or any interest from any particular club. So they're still there. I still don't think any of them are good enough. I think they've all had a good amount of time. I do think that I think Pereira is the youngest out of all those. Jones is near 30, Lingard's getting near 30. Pereira's about 24, 25 when I last checked, so he's still got some time to go away somewhere and have a good career somewhere else. But I think all three of them have had a very good chance at Manchester United to prove themselves and just haven't taken that opportunity. And I think all three of them should leave and we should replace all three of those players. But yeah, no exit in sight for either of them, and that's just a bit of a shame. So it looks pretty much to me like I mean, I think it's guaranteed that for this upcoming Saturday game for Crystal Palace, the squad that we've got now with Sanchez gone, Van de Beek in. I don't actually know what's happening with Chris Smalling. That's a bit of a weird situation. That looks like the squad that we're going to go into Saturday's game with. Whether or not that's the squad that we have by October 5th, it will wait to find out. Of course, there's transfer deadline day, which is usually kind of crazy in that, but we will see what happens with that. But yeah, Lingard, Pereira, and Jones are still at this football club, and there's been no transfer news, no interest, not even any sort of rumours or anything really about either of the three of them leaving, and they still have a contract at Manchester United. I don't know how long their contracts still are because I don't manage to usually find out that information, but yeah, that's the situation with that. Number 6 is no Jadon Sancho. I kind of talked about this a bit earlier with lack of signings, but they're kind of a separate thing in a way. I know that a lack of signings ties into Jadon Sancho not signing, but we've been trying to get this player for about a month or something. I think it's 45 days or whatever. The player agreement thing has been reached. Personal terms, with the player has been reached. Agent fees have been agreed. Contract has been kind of agreed from what I understand. The player wants to join the club, but the transfer fee itself, the 108 million, which I hear now, 108, 110, 120, it's all about the same amount of money, really, has not been agreed. And tying back into number 2, the Glazers, who just don't like to spend money. Fair enough, that is a lot of money to spend on a footballer. It's not, 600 and something million, which was Lionel Messi's release clause, which is just insanity that we won't talk about here. But yeah, no Jadon Sancho. He would be a vital cog to the system, I think, to get the gears going, so to speak, or to get the train fully up and running. He would be a good piece of the puzzle, so to speak. For that, I think it would provide great attacking options. Would provide great attacking options, swapping him with Mason Greenwood on the right. Greenwood could play up front, Jadon Sancho could start on the right, Martial could be rested, and then you've got the left-sided options, Rashford and James, which I think are great. And yeah, the team could flow really well with those options. But no Jadon Sancho yet. I do not think that this deal is going to happen. I think that for some reason we will wait until next summer, because I think he's got 2 years left on his contract from what I hear. Sometimes I hear bits and pieces about player contracts, and sometimes I have no idea. But last time I heard, he's got 2 years left from the start of this season. Remaining on his contract, and it looks like we're trying to go for the usual, hey, wait till he's got 1 year left and his value has gone down. But you know what will happen next season, when his value goes down a little bit because he's got 1 year left on his contract? Barcelona, Real Madrid, Man City, PSG, all the big teams are going to be in for him because he's a valuable young prospect player. Well, not even a prospect player, he's already proved himself, but he's still got time to grow and learn and all that sort of thing. So yeah, no Jadon Sancho yet. That's another reason to be nervous. Number 7, no Paul Pogba contract yet. There has been discussions about he is happy at Manchester United. He is going to be staying at Manchester United, but he cannot stay at Manchester United if his contract eventually runs out. And I believe that I heard last season that after the previous season, so going into this next season, he's got 1 year left on his contract, which is a dangerous situation to be in. I hope that this gets sorted out. I very specifically remember, I don't remember every single thing I say on podcasts, but I remember some stuff. I remember when the team really started to click and we had the Pogba, Matic, Bruno combination, and it really started to work quite well. And I said at that time, get this contract sorted out now. And that was probably a month ago, or longer than that maybe. I can't remember I can't remember when I said that, but it was recently. It was about a month ago, and nothing has been done about it yet. At least nothing has been announced to be done about it yet, and we can't assume that it has been done because it hasn't announced to be done. So, no Pogba contract yet. I think, again, another vital piece of the puzzle to the team. I think he's really clicked in well now. I was calling, last season for him to be sold, for him to leave, because he wasn't settled into the football club, but it's pretty clear now at the moment that he is settled in. I do want him to stay at the football club because he seems to be settled. He's playing well, he's scored a couple of goals, clicked in really well with the team, and I do want Pogba to stay. But you need to get that contract sorted out because he can't play for us if his contract runs out. It's as simple as that. It's just the way that works. So we need to get that sorted out, and that's another reason to me to be nervous for the upcoming season. Number 8, the final reason, we had to pay for Sanchez to leave. I think we paid Sanchez himself because we didn't pay Inter Milan. We paid Sanchez 10 million because of his ridiculous 400,000 a week wages. I think what happened was, Inter agreed that they would keep him, permanently if his wages were lowered, but then we, for some reason, had to pay 10 million. I guess we didn't have to, but we agreed for some reason to pay 10 million to pay off the rest of that 100,000 or whatever it was, the hundreds of thousands that he would have had in his contract. So that's not a good sign when you pay yourself, the club itself. When the club itself pays for a player to leave, that's that's a little bit embarrassing, isn't it? So, but that's the situation. Sorry with that. So before we get into the 3 reasons, I've only managed to come up with 3. One of them is quite a big reason. Before I get into those reasons, let's take a quick break, and then we'll get into some housekeeping. See you for that in a minute.
Hey there, I'm Aaron Holman, host of Eye to Eye, a weekly podcast talk show all about passion.
I have this passion and this fire within me that burns brighter than the fire around me.
Flow.
With performing, there's always a story to tell, whether it's my own or not.
And creativity.
I go, he's more than cute, he's creative.
All with an LGBT twist. Make sure to check out Eye to Eye, that's EYE, number 2, letter I. And rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen in today.
I'm Christy.
And I'm Jackie.
And we are Killer Fun. We explore the intersection of crime and entertainment every other week.
For as long as people have been communicating, they have been talking about who did what to whom, and is that socially acceptable?
Because the boundaries of society,
crime,
and entertainment have always gone hand in hand.
The more salacious,
weird,
the better. From books and movies
to television shows and games,
we look at how life and art imitate and inform one another.
And we can't get together and not laugh. So let's face it, there's going to be laughing.
Killer Fun is available anywhere you listen to podcasts, so join us.
If you'd like to get started with a domain name and a website today, just click on the link in the show notes and that will take you over to Koalu to get started. They also have a live support chat system that you can use, which is in the bottom right hand corner. So get started with a new website and domain name today with Koalu. Hey everybody, if you would like to get the ad-free versions of all of our podcasts and support Entertainment Talk along the way, all you need to do is head over to patreon.com/entertainment talk. Sign up either as a creator or as a Patreon, there's no difference there. That's just the option for either becoming a creator now or just staying as a patron for the moment. And then all you need to do is support us at the $1 level tier. That will get you access to all of the ad-free podcasts that we've done in the past, and get you access to all the ad-free podcasts in that month as well. So it's a great way to support us on Entertainment Talk and to get rid of the ads and get your ad-free podcasts. You can also become a patron at the $3 level tier. That gets you access to ad-free podcasts and allows you to redeem a review of a TV show or a film of entirely your choice. That's one per month for either a TV show or a film review, which is at the $3 level tier. As always, thank you very much for listening. Back to the show. Alright, recently on Entertainment Talk, did a podcast with Barry. He returned to Entertainment Talk and we discussed and ranked our top 5 best PlayStation 1 games, and we also had a bit of a discussion about that particular era of video games, which was really quite a lot of fun to do. I really enjoyed doing that. So if you want to know what our top 5 and some honourable mentions are for the top 5 best PlayStation 1 video games, you can check that out. Let's Play Sunday is number 52 for Marvel's The Avengers, another video from the beta and everything. Diabolical 7, a podcast for The Boys, Season 2, Episode 4, which was the most recent episode. Season 2, Episode 5 will be on Friday, and I'll be back for that. And so that's that podcast as well. You can check that out on iTunes, Spotify, podcast services, and the website. The Diabolical 7 for The Boys on Amazon Prime. Did a skip rating review for Ghost of Tsushima. Robert was on that podcast with me and did give it a don't skip rating, so we had different opinions on the game, which is perfectly fine, but that's the PlayStation 4 exclusive Sucker Punch developed Ghost of Tsushima, which is the new game from them. So we did a full review for that. Did a full review as well for the New Mutants, finally got released in cinemas or theatres, as some of you like to call it. So yeah, don't skip for the New Mutants. Robert was kind of meh on it, but I really enjoyed it, so you can check out that full podcast as well. The Breaking Bad podcast has kicked off. The Becoming Heisenberg podcast, which has all been recorded and edited and scheduled, the first season at least. So over the next 6 weeks now, there'll be a new Breaking Bad podcast released every week on Wednesday at midday. So just the same schedule that Classic Reviews was on, but for Breaking Bad this time instead. So the Season 1 Episode 1 podcast for the pilot is out and available to listen to now, and then look out tomorrow for Episode 2. Last week on Gaming Talk we talked about Super Mario, but Nintendo's very weird treatment with his anniversary and the 3D All-Stars game that they're going to be releasing. So we talked about the weirdness behind that. Talked about some other stuff as well. Crash Bandicoot 4 is adding Tawana as a playable character, so that's fun. And we talked about the Xbox Series S. We have since then had information on the Xbox Series X, but we didn't have that information at the time, so we only talked about the Xbox Series S on that podcast, so you can check that out as well. Did chat podcast for August 2020 discussing how the month went. It went pretty well. A little bit of talk about public coronavirus stuff and some other bits and pieces, and also talked about Entertainment Talk's plans for the fall and the autumn season. Pretty much from now until the end of the year, the Christmas season as well, and our plans for that particular time of year, so you can have a look out for that as well. And that's everything we've been doing on entertainmenttalk.org and on podcast platforms. Let's get into reason number 1 to be excited: The Attack. Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial, Mason Greenwood. You can include Paul Pogba, and then of course the one in between the defence and the attack, Nemanja Matic, who is the holding player but is sometimes part of the attack. But you know, the majority of the team that you've got there, Pogba more so than Matic, because obviously Pogba's the more attacking player. But yeah, it proved to be very, very effective last season. Martial, Fernandes, Greenwood, Rashford, and then you bring into the mix, you know, Dan James at some points to bring on for Greenwood or for Rashford. It's just the bench to kind of worry about, because when you get past that, you get into the Lingard, Pereiras and Joneses or whatever of the team, and that's where things start to fall apart a little bit. You have got, you know, Juan Mata, who's still a fairly decent player and stuff, but yeah, just those players alone, Pogba, Fernandes, Greenwood, Martial and Rashford are quite exciting to look for. So yeah, we'll see how everybody kind of clicks into place for next season, and see how that team kind of develops. It's just, like I said, once you take out one of those players, things start to get a little bit worrying, because, as I said earlier, no Jadon Sancho, only one signing, etc, etc. Reason number 2 to be excited: joining the attack or some part of the midfield. Donny van de Beek, who I already talked about in the previous podcast because that's when he signed for Manchester United. Saw some bits and pieces from him in the highlights for the 1-0 defeat against Aston Villa. He looked good. He did look quite good. I did watch, I think it's like a compilation sort of video, like a 5-minute one or so, of him doing some stuff for Ajax in obviously his previous seasons. Looks like an interesting player, he really does. Looks like he's confident on the ball, looks good on the ball. His passing looks kind of good, his shooting looks good. It just depends on, I mean, we want there to be competition for places. I think the team is a little bit too comfortable at the moment, with everybody kind of feeling solidified in their place in the team. So I think Van der Beek is going to go in there and really kind of shake things up in an interesting way. And to me, like I kind of said at the time that we signed him, when you look at that midfield three, Fernandes, Pogba, Matic, and you have the options on the bench, Van der Beek, Fred, McTominay. Who's the other one? Yeah, Van der Beek, Fred, McTominay. And you look at that and you think, okay, if Bruno's tired, injured, or needs to be rested or whatever, you can probably put Van der Beek in that slot. Because he seems quite versatile as well, like he can play in a lot of different positions, which is really, really good actually. To me, the alternative to Pogba is Fred, because he's kind of the more box-to-box player. And then the alternative to Matic is kind of McTominay to me. I mean, you can have Matic next to... I think that's a good thing about our holding players as well, is or the two that kind of sit back. You can have a mixture of Van der Beek, Matic, Pogba, Fred, and McTominay. I think all five of them can kind of play there, which is really important, because I remember last season when we had Fred and Pereira there, because we were out of players to play, and things weren't looking very good. So it's good that he's joined the team, and that he can play pretty much box-to-box holding player, or kind of in that attacking role, which is a very, very useful player to have. I would bet that he could potentially play out wide, maybe, if we needed him to. So we'll see how that works, but I'm impressed so far with what we've seen from him. So we'll see how things go on Saturday. I'm going to assume that he's going to obviously either be on the bench or starting on Saturday. But yeah, it's looking interesting with that. So the third and final reason to be excited for this season, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think he has created the best team that we've had since post Sir Alex Ferguson. And I know that some of the Sir Alex Ferguson team, obviously from the 2013 team, was kind of left over to David Moyes, but the team didn't work as well, obviously, in that season, given what happened that year. But I think, once we've kind of got cleared of all that, of all those sort of players, and we kind of really moved on from that era, and we had Van Gaal and Mourinho, we had David Moyes, and all those managers and everything. I've been the most confident, I think, in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out of the three of them. Now, granted, Ole's got his problems. Every manager's got their problems. The biggest problem to me that Solskjaer's got is he makes substitutions far too late, and that's definitely a problem. Makes them in like the 85th minute when he could be doing that in the 70th minute. So although a minute ago I said like, yeah, Van der Beek could come on for one of those three midfield players and kind of mix things up and shake things up or whatever, he needs to bring him on earlier. Now, I think he's made the team the most confident it's been since Alex Ferguson. I think that the dressing room is in the best place it's been. I mean, I haven't, been in there, but it seems like, the message that we've got, and some little videos of the dressing room that we've seen of the lads, if you want to call them, all the team, sort of having a good time, being in good spirits, I think, is really, really important as well. Because it's not just, you can't run a club where it's like all serious and doom and gloom all the time. Yes, we're Manchester United, yes, we should be competing, but you've got to have some bright spirit in the team as well. Otherwise, everybody's going to feel too bogged down and under pressure and everything. I think that's kind of what happened under Mourinho, really. Everyone felt too pressured to do things, and yeah, things just didn't go very well. So the team feels in good spirits. Yes, the team could be playing a lot better, but that's a kind of a different issue as well. But yeah, I certainly think he's created the best team since the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer days, especially the first 11. The bench, like I said, is a different question entirely. Likes of Lingard, Pereira, and Jones still kind of hanging around, but we got Fred, McTominay, Van der Beek in there, and think things are looking slightly better. So there we go. But those are my 8 reasons to be nervous and 3 reasons to be excited for the upcoming season. What do you think? What are your reasons for being excited and nervous for the upcoming season? Let me know. Matthew at entertainmenttalk.org, Twitter eTalkUK, there's a contact page and information in your show notes. And one specific question I want to ask. Do you think that we will either sell somebody else, doesn't matter who it is, what it kind of does, but in terms of my question, will we sell another player and will we sign another player? Do you think we're going to do at least one of either or both? I don't think we're going to until I think we're going to sell one player and buy one player on deadline day or buy transfer deadline day, but I don't think that's going to happen until transfer deadline day. I think that we will sign possibly one out of those three players that we're linked with, or Gareth Bale on loan. No, I don't think that'll happen. I think we'll sign one of those three players that we've been linked with on transfer deadline day. And if I was to guess, I think it's going to be the left back, Reguilon, if that's his name. I think we're going to sign him, and I don't think we're going to get Jadon Sancho. I think Thiago is either going to stay at Barcelona or maybe go at Liverpool. I'm not really too bothered necessarily. I don't think he's going to come to Manchester United. I think that we're going to get rid of one player. It's kind of looking a little bit like that's going to be Smalling. So I think we're going to get rid of Smalling, and I think we're going to sign Reguilon, or whatever his name is, in the left back position. That's what I think is going to happen. I think that next season, I think Sancho is going to end up going somewhere else, because I think he's going to stay at Dortmund this season. I think the next season he's going to leave and he's going to go somewhere else. I don't know where that's going to be. Could be a whole different bunch of places. Could be that Neymar goes back to Barcelona and Sancho goes to PSG. I don't know. That's just kind of a rough sort of prediction, but that's what I think anyway. So we will see what happens. Hopefully we sign all three players. Hopefully we sell Lingard, Pereira and Jones. Hopefully we get Pogba a new contract at least, or something along those lines. We shall see. But anyway, thank you all very much for listening. You can find everything that we've got on entertainmenttalk.org. If you want to support the podcast and Entertainment Talk, we are on Patreon. You can have a look at the $1 and $3 level tiers for instant podcast, ad-free podcast and review options as well. Amazon affiliate link, if you want to buy stuff on Amazon, we can get a small cut of what you spend. It won't cost you extra. iTunes feeds, please rate, review, subscribe to those. That will really help us out. So search for Entertainment Talk on your favourite podcast platform. What else is there? You can find David on geektown.co.uk, of course, for Geektown Radio and all your latest TV and film news. Geektown Radio on Tuesdays. There'll be a new episode at some point later today. I don't know what time, because he's dealing with it and not me, but you can look out for Geektown Radio on Tuesdays for your up-to-date, reliable TV and film news. Bex is streaming daily over on Twitch. She did some funny cat stuff yesterday, but you can find her over on Twitch. She's streaming daily. If you search for Trista Bytes, that's Trista Bytes, that's Trista Bytes, Bytes, for geeky gaming and chatter and all sorts of fun weird stuff, so go and check her out over there. Word of mouth, you can tell people that you know about the website and the iTunes feeds as well. Of course, social media, Facebook, Twitter, different Facebook groups. If you can, do that as well. That really, really would help us out. Let's Play Sundays is back. Check those episodes out on Sundays. And we'll have something quite exciting for you on this Let's Play Sunday coming up. Hopefully it will be a Crash Bandicoot 4 video, so look out for that as well. Thank you very much for listening. Let's hope we beat Palace on Saturday and that we sort something out for this upcoming season. We'll see how we get on, but come on you Reds, we will see how we get on. But I will be back. Oh yeah, podcast schedule. I will be back, let's say by the latest of Monday. I don't know, my Saturday something is going on Saturday. Sunday I don't know, but by the expect a podcast on the Crystal Palace game latest of Monday. That's the rough sort of schedule, so keep your eyes peeled. But anyway, thanks for listening and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.